What's up, everybody? Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Simon Hill, Black American from Louisiana, coming to you live from Budapest, Hungary, here with my beautiful wife. Say hi, boo.
Hi everyone, I'm AKDI and I'm from Turkey, and today we're reviewing Waitress, the musical.
Sugar, butter, flour,
Flower,
sugar, butter.
flower.
Yes. And I sort of stumbled across this movie on one of the pirate sites that we watch a lot of our films on. And I just thought, you know what? It's Saturday night. We're over here chilling. Let's watch something fun and light because we've been watching a whole lot of heavy dramas recently. So I wanted to mix it up a bit. So yeah, I just decided that this will be something we could review. We have a few film requests from people in our comment section, but I'm not able to find these French movies with English subtitles. So guys, if you do have a film you want us to review, please tell us where we can find it and also understand it. But yeah, we watched this last night and I can say I enjoyed it. How did you feel about it acting?
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. It was like a, cute little story. I
Hmm.
definitely think like if 15-year-old AKDI watched this, like I would have loved it. And I would have probably like reenacted it in my room or something.
I could say that, I enjoy musicals, I enjoy theater, I enjoy plays. I feel like this is like what people would think of when they think of a musical, right? It's not Hamilton, which is, something vast, experimental, brave, new, hip hop inspired. Like this is like very traditional in the mold of like, show tunes, Broadway, big acting, big gestures, simple stories, emotional moving scenes. Like it's a, boilerplate musical, I would say. What would you think?
Okay, I don't know what that means. What is like a boilerplate
Like
musical?
it's just like what you would expect.
Mm.
Like the standard. It's a standard thing.
Yeah, definitely. I would say it is a standard. I think it's giving like very classic vibes.
Hmm.
And, it's about a girl, your average girl, and, it's small town. But yeah, I mean, it was cute. I think
Hmm.
that's the best word to describe it, like cute.
Yeah. Yeah. So the thing about this musical was actually based on a film in 2007 called The Waitress, which is like, sort of like an underground, low budget, Tyler Perry-esque rom-com for white people, for white women. So there was a
Wow.
film called 2007 called The Waitress. And then this, woman, made that film into a musical in 2015, right? And the music was written by a woman named Sarah Bareilles, who is one of the top singers, actresses on Broadway. A few years ago, Acti and I watched a film starring John Legend called Jesus Christ Superstar, which was a Broadway musical, and she was playing Mary Magdalene in it. And that was the first time we saw Sarah Bareilles in anything. But she is a mega star on Broadway, and she wrote the music for this musical that went on stage in 2015, and then they made this into a film for this in 2023, and it was released last year, right? So in the title, I put Waitress the Musical 2015. That's when the actual play actually happened. But this film is actually from last year, right? But yeah, it's kind of an interesting story. What did you think about like the background of how sort of this film came to be?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of history behind it, right? Because even before the movie, it was also a book as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, this very simple story about a girl sort of came a long way. And
Mm-hmm.
now it's like in theaters as a musical. And I like the fact that they took it like all the way here because I do think like classic stories are classic for a reason. And like you said, it's such a classic story, probably like for a white female audience.
Yeah.
And but I will say, like, I like the fact that she made this into theaters, so that people who cannot go to Broadway and see like these live musicals can actually experience this in a very good way. Because
Yeah.
I thought the live shot was actually really good throughout the movie. And I am someone who loves musicals and who really likes Broadway as well. Like, I think I watched like Chicago like 20 times. But yeah, so I liked that, she took the effort to put it in film.
Yeah, because there's something special about musicals because it's probably the most complex, complicated, expensive type of play to do. It's the hardest form of entertainment to do because not only do the people have to act, they have to sing, they have to dance, and they all have to do it right in that 2.5 hours. You get what I'm saying? So it's very, very hard to do. And I really like that they also put it on film too. And I think that more musicals and plays in general should be translated to film. What do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. I think it will only make people want to see these, stories and hear about these stories more. Because just because we've seen Waitress, the musical, let's say on our TV in Budapest,
Hmm.
doesn't mean like if we have a chance to see it live, we wouldn't.
Yeah,
I
no.
would actually love anything to see on live, like live show,
Hmm.
because that's just a different type of like, entertainment. And I feel like, most of the time, whichever musical you watch live, it's going to be really good. Because
Right.
there's just, like you said, so much effort and talent that goes into it. There's a choreography, there's, good singing. Most of the time, these people are like very talented singers.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, like, and plus the story and the acting, so.
Right. But see, that's the thing. Like a musical can elevate bad art because I'm pretty sure the 2007 Waitress is like a, throwaway rom-com. But now it's become something even greater, which makes me think we should elevate some old films that are really bad by making them musicals. Like we should make Bottoms the musical. Like we need to make, I don't know, we should make The Treatment the musical.
Wow. I mean,
Martyr.
I might enjoy Bottom's musical.
Nymphomaniac, the musical.
Oh God, no.
Salo, the musical.
Those are not bad movies. Stop.
But either way, I think it would be great to have some good musical reinterpretations of movies like Baby Boy. I would like to see a Baby Boy musical. I would like to see maybe, I don't know, so many other films. Boys in the Hood musical. That would be interesting.
That would
Okay.
be interesting. I
What do you
mean,
think? What would you like to see as a musical?
I'm gonna say it again. I mean, we saw this as like a joke in a movie or like a TV series or something where they were like sort of parodying Get Out, the
Uh-huh.
musical,
Uh-huh.
and that should be done. Like, it would be so much fun.
Uh-huh.
Get Out the musical, because also like, there aren't a lot of horror genre musicals,
Yeah.
I would say. So I think that should be like more focused on. Maybe like
Mhm.
only one that's very famous is The Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
And that's not like even that scary.
I think that's opera though. Like, what it is a musical. I mean, technically it's a play, but I think it's
Yeah.
an opera more, right? Which is a different thing. But,
Yeah.
but yeah, speaking of music though, right? What did you think about the songs in this film?
They were okay.
Yeah.
Like you said, they were sort of like the songs you would expect in a
Hmm.
Broadway show, like
Hmm.
very cutesy.
Hmm.
And they fit the storyline and stuff like that. Though they were like some questionable lines where
Yeah.
I was like, wait, like, is my mind just too dirty, or did they do this on purpose?
Right. There
Um,
was there was some questionable dialogue in this film. Like there's a scene when one waitress tells another waitress, get a 5-minute condom, and then another waitress says like, her boyfriend only eats white food on Wednesday, and some other weird words here. Like I was like, why are people saying this? And like the pies, like blueberry bacon pie, like what? You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Some of it was like a bit too much because like The one I remember is when there's basically like this sort of loving scene happening between the two
Hmm.
main characters that are love
Hmm.
interests.
Yeah.
And the main character, Jenna, is basically saying like how it's nice to be mattering to someone, right?
Hmm.
And then she says like, my baby, you should get addicted.
Hmm.
And then like you have to wait for the next line for it to make sense, because she means you should get addicted to being loved and
Yeah.
cared about other people. But I was like, what?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, it's a bit creepy. It's a bit wild. It's a bit creepy, some of those lines in there. But, I gotta say respect to Sarah for writing these songs because, it's uncommon for the actress to also be writing songs too. And,
mhm.
so shout out to her for doing that. But, generally I like the music too. There were some songs I really, really liked. I'm looking at the soundtrack now. I like, Club Knocked Up. I like Palmeter Pie. I like When He Sees Me. I like, Bad Idea. I like, Take It From an Old Man. And I also like, I guess, Opening Up, I guess. The first song, Opening
Yeah.
Up, it's a new day. But one of the things that was annoying about this film is like, anytime Jenna is like standing by herself, like, there's this like, she thinks of something and then there's sugar.
Butterfly.
Like, yeah, that was pretty annoying. But whoever is the rap genius who gets like a hold of this soundtrack, somebody needs to sample sugar, butter, flour, sugar, butter, flour, and turn that into a beat. That's a
Yeah.
fire beat.
Yeah, I mean, I like some of the songs too. I guess like the ones that I liked Opening Up. I
Hmm.
liked The Negative. The Club Knocked Up was good.
Hmm.
When He Sees Me was good. The
Hmm.
one that Augie said was good, like Never Ever Getting Rid of Me.
That's a stalker anthem.
Yeah, it was nice. And Bad Idea was nice as well.
Um,
I didn't like like towards the end, I wasn't that much of a fan of the songs, because for me it just got like too like slow.
yeah, slow, sentimental, sappy.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, like can we have like a little bit of rock or just something to keep up
Hmm.
the rhythm and the energy going, because it is a long musical.
Yeah. It's 2.5 hours, right? And this is actually like an hour and a half long story, but the songs make it longer, right? It doesn't feel
Yeah.
like a long film though. It didn't feel like 2.5 hours. There were parts where I was bored though, like towards the end, a little bit, like during those sappy, sentimental songs, I sort of was dozing off a bit, but, it didn't feel long. What about to you?
Yeah, same. Like I was kind of bored towards the end, but I was also like thinking about, okay, what's gonna happen and stuff like that. And I
Hmm.
do have to say, like, it didn't have the end I was expecting, and I was like a bit disappointed. It's definitely not a feminist, like, musical, I would say. But at the same time, I don't know. I was just like expecting more from the main character, I guess. And it just sort of like ended in the most classical way.
Now, I remember when we watched the film Sparkle, and your issue was like Sparkle, the main character played by Jordan Sparks. She was like annoying you because you were like, she's too like Miss Prissy, Miss Perfect, Miss, goody two shoes. Did you feel the same way about the main character here, Jenna?
A little
And
bit.
also, does that influence like how you view this as a feminist film too?
Yeah, a little bit, a little bit. Like, look, I get that, okay, if some women, want to have kids, or if they're okay with like being submissive and all of that stuff, I get it. But it's like, you cannot be complaining this much about it and then like really not do anything until something like crazy happens.
Hmm. I got
And
you.
that to me is just annoying. And then
Hmm.
also, like, on top of it, what annoyed me in this musical, like, in accordance with that, is that, like, Jenna's friends who worked with her in the diner were also, like, sort of, avoiding her problems plus pushing her to make bad decisions as well. So I
Mm,
was like, okay, like, I don't know what is like going on with this whole friend group, but they're definitely like not, feeling the movement.
yeah, I don't know if I can really get with that. Maybe I can see how Jenna could be annoying in a little bit of her decisions, but I'm sympathetic to her because like she's kind of trapped with a really bad dude with a really bad job in a really bad place. I just feel like some of her friends were like sort of like enabling some bad behavior a little bit. But
Yeah, and
they're
that's
also
what
trying
I'm
to look out for
saying.
her. But they're also trying to look out for her too, low key.
Yeah, but it's like, if you're so miserable in your relationship, then just like leave, because she didn't have a kid before. And why didn't she leave him like until this moment? Why was she putting up with him, her husband, who is like doing the worst things?
Hmm.
Which takes me to the husband as well, Earl. And they made this guy like the worst guy ever.
Yeah,
So it doesn't make sense that she's staying with him
I
just
got you.
because like they had a romance like in high school.
I actually disagree with that, and we'll talk about that more when we run through the story. But I feel like Earl and her relationship was complicated because Earl said, I was there for you when your mother died. I was there for you when your father was drunk every single night. And Earl probably was back in the day like a very sweet, kind, caring guy. But, the world kind of got to him. That's how I felt. What did you think?
Yeah, but if you're not having, sex with your husband, if you don't want to have sex with your husband, and on top of it, you get knocked up, and then you, like, don't want to have his baby, I
Hmm.
feel like that's a pretty strong sign to leave him.
Okay.
Like, I don't know what else can happen.
Right. But she works at a diner where she makes $6.50 an hour plus tips.
Yeah, and all this man does is take her little money that she has.
Okay. All right, all right. Well, let's do this. I'm going to read through the plot, and we're going to start with Act 1 here. I'm reading from the wiki page, right? Because this movie is simple, but I feel like it's worth discussing because there are some points here that are interesting and worth talking about. So in Act 1, Jenna is a waitress and expert pie baker at Joe's Pie Diner in the American South. She bakes pies to distract herself from her unhappiness with her home life. And then the song What's Inside comes on, I guess. She begins another day at the diner with her boss, Cal, and fellow waitress, Becky and Dawn. Opening Up is the song then that comes on. After Jenna almost throws up, Becky and Dawn convince her to take a pregnancy test, which to Jenna's dismay comes back positive. Jenna deduces the pregnancy came from a night when she drunkenly had sex with her abusive husband, Earl. And then the song The Negative comes on. Earl comes to the diner and suggests he wants to make Jenna quit and give up her passion for baking. He takes the tips she has earned from working so far that day. She decides not to tell him about her pregnancy and recalls her late mother, who also found solace from an unhappy marriage in baking. And then the song What Baking Can Do comes on. All right, what did you think about any of those scenes at the beginning of the film?
I think the beginning was interesting because it didn't give us like what's gonna happen, so soon. Even though like the story is very classical story, I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't expecting like right off the bat for her to get pregnant, and yeah, it made me like it made it intriguing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I did like in the first part, I guess at least, I did like the baking parts where like she would say, okay, this is like the unwanted baby pie. And then like she would say, add a little bit of like drinks and a little bit of like the red dress, and that's how you get like the unwanted baby and stuff like that. Like that was
Can I say something? Like throughout this film, one of the funniest things throughout this film is that pie plays an essential part in telling the story. Cause like whenever something bad happens, Jenna's like, this is my cheating on my husband pie. This is my sleeping with my doctor pie. Like, get what I'm saying? Like, that's so funny. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I liked how, they picked the pies and the ingredients according to the events that was happening.
Uh-huh.
I thought that was comical. I thought that was like, a smart way of like incorporating her escape through, baking pies and stuff like that. But once again, like, it's annoying that your mom went through the same stuff and you know it, and then you're still like putting yourself through the same stuff.
Yo, one of the most, I gotta say about the beginning scenes that I just described, the background dancers really bring this thing to life because like, in the beginning they're there, like just moving and gesticulating in the background, and it brings what the song is saying to life so much. So shout out to the background dancers. And I like also how Jenna's mom is sort of throughout the play, even though she doesn't have any speaking lines, because like there's a scene when they show her mother fighting with her father in the background while Jenna's baking a cake, showing like that's like her memory, her flashback while she's, making these pies and stuff like that. So that was cool.
Yeah, I also really like the whole background people as well because I guess they're called the ensemble.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, they were like also bringing props to Jenna.
Mm-hmm.
As if like whenever they came out, it was sort of like, okay, she's like in her imaginary land now. And, she would say butter and someone like brings the butter and stuff like that. So that definitely made it more magical. So yeah, I agree that like a big shout out to the ensemble.
Yeah, but one thing that did not get a shout out through this film is Yeast. Like she's singing sugar, butter, flour, and Yeast is like, I make this whole thing happen. Don't nobody want to give me any props. It's so annoying.
You don't need yeast to make a pie.
You need yeast to make bread. How else are you gonna make crust?
No, that's not bread though. That's a different type of dough.
I feel like you need yeast in anything you bake, no?
No.
Okay, guys, my wife is like an expert baker, so I'm gonna shut up here, but I'm just gonna say, shout out to the baking soda, shout out to the cornstarch, shout out to yeast. Y'all won't get no love, but Simon loves you.
Okay, Simon. Look at you trying to make cooking jokes.
All right. Anyway, continuing here. So Jenna, at her OBGYN's office, she is taunted by other pregnant women, and that's when the song Club Knocked Up comes on. And then she meets Dr. Jim Palmiter, a new doctor from Connecticut. Jenna explains she does not want to raise a child, but does not want an abortion, and leaves Dr. Palmiter with a mermaid marshmallow pie, which he eats and loves. And then the song Palmiter Pie comes on. All right. Any comments about that scene when she meets Dr. Jim?
I mean, Dr. Jim was a weird guy, but he was also very likable, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Not putting in the unprofessional things he did later, but just in the beginning, and it's like this big town, man that came into the small town and he's like just trying to get accustomed to all the people in there. And, I mean, they were cute. I didn't feel anything between them. Not to give any spoilers, but yeah, I thought he was gonna be like a cheer person for Jenna to like bake more, basically.
Yeah.
And I thought like he was just gonna like show her some direction, like coming from the big city and stuff like that. So that was like my initial expectation from Dr. Jim.
Yeah. Dr. Jim looked like one of those guys Rachel dated in like season 3 of Friends. Like just a really tall, skinny, conventionally handsome white man. Like he looks like a recurring character that I do not know about from Big Bang Theory. He
Wow.
looks like one of the main characters from That 70s Show, season 6. Like he feels like a very famous white man I should know about and other white people know about, but I don't.
Okay. I'll just have to say that I liked his like vocals.
I did not. No, he starts singing, and his singing, he didn't start singing at that part, right? But when he sings later, his voice goes up like an octave, and it's actually demasculating.
Wow, I think that shows talent. He has a very large like range of tone.
I guess so. I guess I also have to say at this scene, I'm introduced in with Dr. Jim's nurse, and his nurse is like this sassy black woman who walks with her hips like exaggeratedly swaying side to side, and she speaks in a real thick Southern accent. And I gotta say, one of the things I kind of disliked about this film is that it's like we have sassy black mammy characters throughout it. Becky, the other main waitress, she's the only one rolling her neck at the boss saying, is you gonna fire me or not? And then you have Dr. Jim's nurse coming in, straddling her big booty around, talking about Dr. Jim, your new patient here. Like, it's kind of annoying. It's kind of annoying for me.
Yeah, no, I get that. I guess we can just like give it to this musical sort of being, a very classic white female lead story.
Yeah. This is white feminism, y'all. This is white feminism. But yeah, Dr. Jim was cool. So continuing on with the story, word of Jenna's pregnancy reaches Joe, the diner's elderly owner, who suggests she enters a local pie baking contest with a cash prize of $20,000, which would give Jenna enough money to leave Earl. Dawn begins using an online dating platform, but is terrified of every outcome. And then that's when she sings the song When He Sees Me. Any comments about those scenes?
I mean, not particularly about those scenes, but one of my favorite parts of this movie was that, there was sort of like these three woman characters that were always, in the story. And I liked how they had their own, like, stories. And, it wasn't just only like Jenna, but Dawn had her, like, love story. And then Becky had her story as well. So I liked their dynamic in the, in the theater and like in the scenes. I really liked, their friendship overall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I kind of liked the old boss man who always sat down at the diner and ordered very specific things. I want a potato on the side and a tomato on another plate and a big slice of the blueberry bacon bullshit pie. Like, he was kind of funny every time he showed up. And when the word of the $20,000 contest was going to come up, I thought, okay, this is how the movie's going to end. Jenna's going to enter the contest. Everybody's going to see how great her pies are. And then, happy ending for everybody, right?
Yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah. So, but I also thought it was interesting that, when Dawn's side quest started to evolve about the online dating stuff, I was like kind of confused about this movie because like there is no time and place that this film takes place in. I don't know if it's happening in 2009 or 1989 because nobody's got cell phones, nobody's got computers and stuff like that. I was like, when is this story happening? You get what I mean?
Yeah, like I remember when they were asking like Dawn about her profile.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, what profile? Is it a dating profile or like, is it something about education? Like, what is the profile? And then they asked her to read her profile. Then she takes out like a piece of paper and reads her profile. Like, I'm a, exciting girl and all this stuff. And I'm like, I was kind of expecting like for her to pull up a phone. Like,
Yeah.
why did she pull up a piece of paper?
Yeah, this is the Deep South in like 1992. One person had a computer, so she had to like write down what she wanted this person to type on the email. Put my profile on the email and post it on the website.
Yeah, like it just didn't make sense. Like if you're doing internet online dating, then like I guess you can include a phone.
This makes
Like
no
why
sense.
was she reading out of a paper like she's writing letters to
I
her
know,
lovers?
right? Yeah, this film makes kind of no sense, low-key.
A little bit. Like I said, the more I talk about it, like more loopholes I found, more problems I found.
I mean, the story still makes sense, right? Let's say it's like 1980s, 1990s America, a few people have computers. She goes to the public library to post on, christianmingle.com and hopefully trying to find that good man.
Wow. And also, like in addition to all of that, it felt like weird for these women, Becky and Jenna, encouraging Dawn to find a husband when their own relationships suck.
I know, right? Let's break that down. Yeah, Jenna is married to like this abusive pimp who says, what you doing, girl, and how we do today, and then takes all her money. Becky's husband is like, I guess, an invalid. I guess he had like a stroke or something, and now he wears diapers and just sits in the room all day staring at a corner. And yeah, she's unhappy in her marriage too. Like,
Yeah.
why are they encouraging? I think there's something to say here about how women in the workplace, like even in society, a woman's worth is still tied to a man, low key, and women still uphold that. Cause nobody was telling her, Dawn, you need to stay single. Don't be like us. They were like sharing our misery, girl.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It felt like they were just doing it just to do it and just to have something to talk about while they're at work.
Right, right.
So, yeah, it was just like, it didn't make sense to me. Why wouldn't they encourage her to like study something or, I don't know, do something better with her money
Yeah.
instead of like marrying some guy and then like getting knocked up and stuff like that. So,
Well, maybe also it could be the film is trying to say, don't give up on love. You might have bad relationships, but that doesn't mean love goes out with the bathwater too. You know?
I guess. I mean, the thing is like, I guess Dawn and her later relationship is the healthiest relationship throughout the musical.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, the guy is kind of like a creep.
Hmm.
And they so basically just allow this creep to marry their friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, speaking of healthy relationships, so Cal is like the manager of this diner, right? With these three girls who always come in late, always backtalk him and sass him, especially Becky. Becky, the big black woman here, right? And, there's this one scene, I believe around this time, where, Cal says, I could fire your ass. And then Becky stares him down and says, well, do it. And then they play like this, like Western music. And the lights dim down on them. And as soon as that happened, I said, oh, they're gonna fuck. They're gonna fuck off. They're gonna have nasty, nasty sex in the kitchen. Cause I felt the sexual tension. Did you feel it?
No, I did not feel the sexual tension. I just felt like, okay, like this is a classic boss versus worker dynamic.
Okay. And one last thing before I get off of this scene. When he sees me, I don't know, man. I find that song hella problematic. I
Why?
I find it hella problematic. Cause why is Don, oh wait, maybe I'm confusing this with Never Let You Go. But either way, the song is kind of annoying. Like, what if he sees me and he doesn't like me? What if he sees me and he eats boogers? I'm like, stop overthinking it. Just go. Just go on the date and get free food. Just go
Well,
get your free dinner. Go ahead.
yeah, well, that's like her problem.
Hmm.
She's logical, she's analytical. Maybe she probably has like OCD or something.
Yeah.
Um, OCB, sorry.
I thought
Um,
it was OCD.
OCD, yes. Look at me being a shitty psychologist. Anyway, yeah, I think that was like her whole thing that she didn't like she realized she was weird, but she was also scared like, okay, if I find someone who likes my weirdness, but then like they don't anymore,
Hmm.
and then I get left like that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was her issue, right? So, yeah, speaking of psychology, right? Time to talk about Dr. Palmatore's mesophoria or mesiophilia. So in the next scene, Jenna runs into Dr. Palmatore at the bus stop. He tells her he loved the mermaid marshmallow pie, saying it could win contests and ribbons and things. And then they sing the song, It Only Takes a Taste. Jenna arrives home to learn Earl has been fired from his job. He berates her and his anger almost turns physical. Out of impulse and fear, Jenna confesses she is pregnant. Earl softens up, but makes Jenna promise not to love the baby more than she loves him. And then he sings, You Will Still Be Mine. Jenna tells Dawn and Becky of her plan to enter the pie contest. If she wins, she will use the prize money to leave Earl and raise the baby herself. The three waitresses see their dreams of a better life within reach, a soft place to land. Jenna begins to give Earl only half her earnings, hiding the other half around the house in order to save up for entering the pie contest. So yeah, I wanted to just say about the myesophilia, the pregnancy fetishism that Jim obviously has. because I've never seen a doctor so quickly come come onto like this pregnant woman like this. Like Jim obviously has like a thing for like women who are no longer capable of getting pregnant. So I think he's got like a cream pie post pregnancy fetish. That's what I think.
Wow. I mean, I agree because he just said like pie and woman and pregnant belly, fuck professional integrity. Like, I'm just gonna go for it. Like,
Yeah.
he didn't think about it once. Like, we didn't hear him contemplate about it in any of his songs. You know, what about my wife? What about my, medical integrity?
Right, right.
Like, it was not an issue for him. He was
That
dedicated in his fetish.
that goes to show how boring small town Kentucky is. That you're willing to risk your medical license, like for the
That
waitress.
that was just crazy. Like the way he just like, just left everything for this pregnant lady who's also married.
Yes.
And like talking about one of the scenes there, like when Jenna is with her husband
Mm-hmm.
and her husband is like mad, like just crazy, stupid,
Mm-hmm.
and also abusive as well.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I hate this scene. I hate like the person Jenna is in this scene.
Yeah.
Because it's like, bro, you're
Mm-hmm.
about to have a baby. You're letting this man abuse you. You're letting this man take the money. And then you're
Yeah.
also like promising this man that you will love this man more than the baby.
Mm-hmm.
We know that you don't want the baby, which is already a problem within
Right.
itself. Because, I guess when she learns that, she's pregnant, Dr. Jim, right?
Mm-hmm.
He says something like, I can refer you to like a clinic if you want. And
Mm-hmm.
then Jenna says, oh God, no, I'm having this baby. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't shame those people, but I'm keeping it. And she
Mm-hmm.
hates the baby.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Basically, like, she's always like, I wish I didn't have the baby. I don't know what I'm going to do with the baby and all
Yeah.
sorts of things.
Yeah. And
Everything is just so problematic about her way of thinking and doing stuff.
a little bit, but I still once again have sympathy. She's poor. She's in the deep south. She's a woman. She's pregnant. You don't play with the angry, broke, just got fired white man. Like that's the prime way to get killed. That's the prime. That's like, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, like femicide is not a joke, but Earl is definitely the type to be like, the bitch pushed me to the edge, man. Earl is definitely the type to do like 15 years for like choking out his baby mom. I can see it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like they should have made him better. Like, I don't know. He was just so bad. I feel like there should have been like some space for Jenna to say certain things.
I feel like, what was the name of the guy in the Divorce in the Black, the husband who was divorcing? I forgot his name, right? But he was like one-dimensionally bad, right? Or when we think about Mr. from the original Color Purple, he was like kind of one-dimensionally bad. And this is like the white version of Mr. and that guy from Divorce in Black, right? But I feel like in his song, he sort of gave a little bit of himself of who he truly was. He used to be kind. He used to be sensitive. He used to be romantic. But I guess times changed and he just, grew that beer belly and that dad bod and that, and the balding scalp and just said, I'm going to be an asshole.
But it doesn't make sense because, like, okay, if his assholeness comes from his childhood trauma, or like something in his past, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then he should always be like somewhat of an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work out like, oh, he was good when he was in high school, like the last year of high school, and after he got married, he turned into an asshole. Like,
No.
I don't know. To me, it's just like, I wish there was some saving grace for Earl and just something to have some empathy with Earl. Because it just made him like this unbearable character. Like at the end of the musical, everybody was like taking a bow, and then Joe Tippett, the guy who plays Earl, comes in, and people are like applauding like forcefully, like because like everyone's like, we hate this dude, fuck this dude.
Okay, I can see that. I feel like I had some sympathy for Earl. I feel like there is a way. Once again, you do have to read a little bit in between the lines, but he actually has like some of like, actually Cal in this film has more screen time or play time, stage time than actual Earl. Earl is there like at the beginning of this movie and then at the end, really. Right? So I feel like in his scenes, in his moments, yes, he is bad, but if you read between the lines, you can see some good in him or the trouble that stirs his soul, if you feel me.
I guess, but you just have to like really read into it.
I got you. I
Like,
got
I
you.
don't know. I feel like there were some songs that were like unnecessary, especially towards the end. And
Hmm.
instead of like giving us those, you know, songs, they could have given us like an Earl song that sort of is telling his side of the story
Right.
and making us empathize with him.
Yeah.
Because like, for example, there are those type of like scenes in other musicals, like my favorite, Chicago, obviously.
Hmm.
There's like a guy that's dumb and goes to prison for his wife,
Hmm.
but then they sort of give us his insight on what his psychology is doing that. So I wish they did the same thing like with Earl.
Yeah, because at the end, I think Jenna has like two very sad, slow songs, like at the end, and I think one of those could have been like Earl being like, "Damn, I lost the girl, I lost my baby. Maybe I can make a change. Maybe I can be a man. I can be grand. I can return to the way I was." You know what I mean? They could have, it could have made it something, like give Mister a song. We watched the other Color Purple musical that they remade this year um, with like Chloe Bailey or no, Halle Bailey and what was her name? I forgot her name, but yeah, in that musical, they didn't give Mister a song, right? And Mister is one
Yeah,
of the most hated male characters on screens, period. Right? Give him the opportunity to speak. I feel you.
yeah, yeah.
All right. So anyway, Dawn, the other waitress, her date, Ogie, visits the diner. Dawn believes that their first date did not go well, but Ogie insists on finding out more about Dawn and helping her overcome her anxiety. And then he sings the song Never Ever Getting Rid of Me. Dawn and Ogie realize how much they have in common, such as their mutual enjoyment of American Revolution reenactments. Jenna makes an appointment with Dr. Parmentier where he comes in 2 hours early just to see her again. Jenna confronts Dr. Parmentier, accusing him of being strange, but then she impulsively kisses him. Though both are married, they decide to escape their frustrating lives and have sex in the office and sing the song Bad Idea. Nasty, nasty, nasty. These are, see, see, we in America, we have a big problem. We have too many professionals using their professional credentials to sleep with their clients, their students, their customers. This is an epidemic.
Yeah, that was crazy, definitely, because it was like Jenna was trying to do like get away from it and saying
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it's a mistake, I should go." And then like Jim is freaking like closing the door and say, "Wait, what does this mean now?" And like kiss me again. Like, bro, stop. You're a doctor.
And the crazy thing is like Jim is probably like a Connecticut 7, but he goes to small town Kentucky and he like moved up at least 2.5 points. So like Jenna was ready low key when she first met him. You mean he got all his teeth and he don't got tattoos?
Wow.
He finished high school, girl.
Yeah, that was crazy. And also like not gonna lie, Augie was one of my favorite characters
Mm,
because he was just like so unapologetically himself and also silly.
yeah.
But that whole like thing of you're never getting rid of me. I like the song, but it did give like, toxic like sort of stalker vibes.
Low key, Ogie is more dangerous than Earl. Like Earl will smack a bitch. Ogie will like take you into the basement and like torture you.
Yeah, possibly.
Ogie will go Jeffrey Dahmer on that pussy. He will.
Yeah. There was definitely that vibe, but I mean, I liked them. I liked Dawn and Augie together, so I'm not gonna like, shit on him.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, like, this is the South, And it's unreasonable, unbelievable to think that Don is into American Revolutionary War reenactments. You know, if this was real life, Don would be into Civil War reenactments. We're going to fight for the South. we're going to protect our lands and our rights. You know, she'd be all dressed up in like Confederate battle gear.
Wow. I mean, I don't know that much about America, so I didn't read that much into it.
That's what I read into it. But Ogie was cool. He was cool. He was alright. He was alright. He was alright. He was alright.
Yeah.
The song was good. The acting was good. I liked his little dances and stuff. He was like river dancing all over the screen. He left the cafe and did like a cartwheel. That threw me off. It had me laughing. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, no, he was a good like singer and actor, and overall I think he was great.
Yeah.
And also one of my favorite scenes was like the scene where, you know, basically Jenna and Dr. Jim Palmater was like having sex.
Yeah.
I thought they did it like smartly, you know, it wasn't like naked people in the theater, but they definitely like made it smart and funny.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, like, because Jenna would come in with different names of pies that he baked for Dr. Jim.
Mm-hmm.
But we know the only pie he's eating is, you know, her booty.
Pregnant pussy pie.
Yeah.
Double cream pie. Milky titties pie.
Yeah,
Pull
like,
my hair pie.
yeah, different types of, like, nasty pies. Just about, like, you know, sex and stuff. I thought that was cute.
Choke me harder, daddy pie.
Wow. Okay.
I liked how at the end of Act 1, the curtains dropped and it said intermissionary pie. I don't know if you caught that. That was just a hilarious joke. Intermissionary pie. That was right at the sex scene. But yeah, that was the end of Act 1. Act 1 was good. Moving into Act 2. So this happens. After Jenna's tryst, she discovers Becky and Cal making out at the diner. Not making out. They were more than making out. The married Becky is unashamed of giving in to passion. And then she sings the song, I didn't plan it. Jenna and Dr. Palmator continue their affair, as do Becky and Cal. Don and Ogie begin their relationship. No, they were humping in Revolutionary War regalia. Like, it was nasty. The movie became Salo. The movie became Eyes Wide Shut for like a good 3 scenes. Like, by the way, Eyes Wide Shut, the musical, what needs to happen to.
Oh my God, yes.
Jenna wonders if having an affair is a mistake, but Dr. Palmator reassures her. Jenna begins writing a letter to her baby. You matter to me. The song is sung. Any comments about those things?
Yeah, I have to say, like, I Didn't Plan It was one of my favorite songs because it did have like this rocky undertone to it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Charity Angel Dawson, the woman who plays Becky, she did a great job, like, singing it as well.
Yeah, soul, power.
Yeah, very soulful. But I was conflicted about, like, the idea of the song because it's like, I get that she was, like, mending her friend and telling her, like, it's okay to make mistakes because of how, like, life happens. But then at the end, it felt kind of like, okay, so we're making mistakes. Let's just keep on making them. And like, just let's fuck up our life. You know, even though we have husbands, let's just like keep on cheating on our husbands because it already happened, so it's okay.
I think the big issue with Becky's situation is that her husband isn't like an abusive guy like Earl. He is actually like trapped in like the room in her house with a physical problem. Like, he's like in a wheelchair. Like, he's low key disabled. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So low key, if I was disabled, like, I would say, okay, actually, it's okay for you to get some dick outside. All right. I'm going to keep it absolutely abrupt. But you got to ask first. Becky was sneaking behind her husband's back. You get what I'm saying?
I don't think her southern husband would say, yeah, you can go and get like dick from the freaking diner cook.
But you gotta ask. You never know.
I could never ask such a thing, Simon.
So but if you're just gonna cheat on me, that's wrong.
I'm not gonna cheat on you. I'm just gonna get myself like a really nice vibrator.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, that's good to know. But I'm just saying, like, her situation just makes her seem even worse as a person. Cause like, imagine this was a man whose wife was like bedridden and then he starts sleeping with the head waitress. You know what I'm saying? It
Yeah,
looks crazy.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I sympathize with her, but I don't like sympathize with her just being okay with continuing the situation.
Yeah. Yeah. And now how surprised were you when Cal was giving her the business on the counter?
I was just shocked by everything that was going in the scene at that moment, because we had like Dawn and Augie like in revolutionary costumes,
Uh-huh.
just like humping away, and then Jenna and Dr. Jim is like humping away in the gynecologist,
Hmm.
bed, and then them like doing it over there in the counter, and I was just thinking, oh, poor Jenna and Dawn. They have to like work in a place where, Cal skeeted everywhere.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. The bacon looking funny.
Yeah.
Cow cum pie.
Ew. So gross. But I was not expecting it though.
Yeah. The song You Matter to Me, I feel like I don't remember it. I feel like I remember all of these songs except that one. So, yeah. I'm going to continue here. After happily dating for several months, Dawn and Ogie get married at the diner. I Love You Like a Table is the song that Ogie sings. Jenna arrives with a tiered pie resembling a wedding cake. When the show reopened on Broadway in 2021, 2 lines of dialogue were added to the script. Becky asks Jenna what she has named the tiered pie, and Jenna replies, a big old slice of Live Your Life pie, in reference to the late Nick Cordero song Live Your Life. At the reception, Jenna asks if Cal, despite his affair, is truly happy. He responds that he is happy enough. Joe tells Jenna his sincere hopes for her. Take it from an old man is sung. Earl drags Jenna home and uncovers the money she has been hiding. She meekly tells him she has been saving for the baby, but Earl leaves with the money. Jenna breaks down, lamenting her long lost control over her life. She Used to Be Mine is the song that's sung. All right, any comments about any of those scenes?
I mean, first of all, when they were getting married, obviously was like happy and everything. But I couldn't help but think, because every person in this, play has a bad marriage,
Mm-hmm.
and every person is basically cheating on their spouses. I couldn't help but think like, oh, Dawn and Augie are going to be the same way in 10 years.
Uh-huh.
So that was kind of like, once again, I was thinking, okay, these people hate marriage, but
Right.
then they celebrate it as well.
I think
So,
for Don and Augie that won't be the case because these are the 2 nerds that nobody wanted to fuck. So because of that, like they're just fine. They're only gonna be touching each other's genitalia.
wow. Okay. So everyone wants to fuck Cal then.
I mean Becky. I knew from the jump Becky was gonna give that man some good cooch. I knew that was gonna happen.
Wow. That's crazy.
And she
Okay.
said it. She
Okay.
said it herself. She said Cal got strong hands. He got them big strong hands. So yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm not going to say anything to that, but yeah. And also when, Jenna got caught and then like her husband came in and took her, I thought that he learned about her affair and not that he found the money, because literally everyone in the town was talking about these 2 women having affairs. Like
Mm-hmm.
everyone knew.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I was like, how the F doesn't like Earl know what is happening?
Well, because Earl's always drunk. And
I
I'm pretty sure
guess.
Earl doesn't hang out with the people that are talking about the town gossip. He's talking about football, baseball, not basketball, too many niggers.
Wow. I mean, that was just like a bit crazy to me, but yeah, also in there as well, I cannot believe like Jenna gave the money and stuff like that. So
Mm.
it was, I mean, he was very toxic once again.
Yeah,
Um,
I gotta
Like,
say
because
that's. Go ahead.
yeah, he was like going at it for 1 second, like he was mad and yelling at Jenna, and then the other second he would be like, "But I love you. You know, you're the only person I have in my life."
Hmm.
There's definitely like a lot of gaslighting.
Yeah, I mean, he was saying like, if you leave me, I'm gonna kill myself, I'm gonna die, and definitely manipulative tactics. But I feel like in that very intense scene with Earl and her at the house when he found the money, I felt like within what he was saying, you could read in between the lines and see so much of what really broke him, right? Because he said, you are the only person that belonged to me, that really loved me. And he also mentioned, he was there when her family fell apart and stuff like that. So he feels like, damn, I've given up my life for you, and maybe I've fallen off, but you know how I really care. And like, do you love me the same way, I love you? I did everything for you. And, when he says, tell me you were just going to use the money to like buy me a present or something nice for me. I got the feeling like he was that little boy who never got love from his dad or his mom or something. And so he looks at Jenna sort of like a motherly figure to take care of him. And then, when he didn't get the answer he wanted, he started crying like a petulant child. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Like, if you read into it, like you said,
Hmm.
there's definitely that, like, motherly role, I guess, was
Yeah.
missing from his life.
Yeah.
And, mommy issues. He had
Hmm.
mommy issues, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, but even, like, in his song, though, I guess that his song was She Used to Be Mine, right?
Hmm.
Like, it felt like even when they were young, he was an asshole. Like, he was this guy who was just sort of forcing Jenna to love him or something
Yeah.
like that. Just because, like, he did one good thing for her,
Yeah.
he sort of, like, made her, commit her life to him because of that. And then Jenna was just, like, too kind and too nice to say no.
Yeah.
Like, she's doing charity work.
I feel like it's give and take, but at the beginning, Earl used to give, but since like at a certain point, some time ago, it's just been Earl taking, and now it's unbalanced. And that's why she, is sick of him. But I don't believe it's always been this one-sided, even back then. But we can agree to disagree.
Okay.
One thing I gotta say, Joe's song, Take It From an Old Man, I actually like that song. But one of the problems about Joe throughout this film is that he has so many moments where he is saying like, back in 1945, I was having sex with this woman all summer. It was wild, hot, and nasty. And so when he's singing Take It to an Old Man to Jenna, it doesn't sound like he's talking about advice. It sounds like he's talking about D. You feel me?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. There was like a weird line that said like, if you're having a bad day, take it from an old man. And it's like, okay, like if I'm having a bad day, I should have sex with an old man? Like, what are you suggesting, Joe?
Yeah, I think Joe was he was a wild character, and Joe dies later in this film, but it makes total sense why, because it seems like he was living like rock star lifestyle when he was younger, and then as he got older, he just was eating Jenna's pies all day just to get closer to death. Because low key, maybe Joe was Muslim and he just wanted to go to heaven to get his 7 virgins because he's that freaky.
Wow, I don't think he was a Muslim, but okay.
Let me tell you about the Quran. Like he's a wild boy. He said he owned a gas station, so he had to be Arab.
Oh, God. Stop. But
Okay.
one thing I also should say is that, like, so Dear Baby, the song Dear Baby, right?
Yeah.
And basically what happens is that when, girls find out that Jenna is pregnant, they get her this book
Mhm.
about like a baby. And,
Mhm.
in the book, there's like a section where you can write a letter to your baby.
Mhm.
And it's like a baby diary or something like that. And then Jenna is basically throughout the movie struggling to write a
Mhm.
letter to her baby. And then at the end, like towards the end, she sings the song, Dear Baby. That should be the letter. for her, but I just didn't feel the letter. It just wasn't like hitting it for me. It wasn't getting me like teary eyed. It should have like gave me more emotion because we're talking about like a baby, and I'm a woman, and I'm a woman who wants to be a mother one day, and it just didn't affect me in any type of way.
Right.
I gotta say, it lacked emotion for me.
It lacked emotion. Well, I don't know. Maybe you would feel it if you had a little bit more dysfunction. So I'll do my best to cause more trauma in this house, more
No.
distress. I'll turn this into Earl's household. How about that?
Wow,
That way
no,
you'll feel
no.
it.
Maybe it was like that because like she just hated her baby throughout the movie.
I mean, yeah, because like that after the Earl fight scene happens, like she has the contractions, right, and then she's in the hospital, and then later on we're gonna see the last thing she says before she gives birth to the baby is, "Earl, I don't want no baby."
Even when her baby is born, the nurse comes in with the baby and like Jenna says, just give it to me. Like, who does that?
Just give me. She's like, "Do you want to hold the baby?" And Jenna's like, "No, I want a Marlboro."
Yeah, like that's not a loaf of bread.
Nah, let me get a menthol cigarette.
You
I
would
don't
be
need
more
that baby.
excited if that was apple pie.
Dog. The only person excited that baby was born was Dr. Jim because he was drinking the amniotic fluid.
Gross.
He was slurping on the fucking umbilical cord just because he's a sick man. Jim is a sick man. All throughout this film, right? The more pregnant as Jenna gets, like there's constantly this back and forth with her and Jim. Jim is like, "I can't believe you didn't talk to me for 3 weeks. How's your belly? Let me smell your belly button."
Yeah, like this guy is basically just like fantasizing about Jenna's pregnant belly.
Yeah.
And just like jerking off in the kitchen.
Dog. While his wife is asleep, just, God.
Yeah.
He's a sick man. Anyway, continuing on into the story. So Jenna goes into labor, and then they do the constant contraction ballet, which is all the girls from the club Knocked Up song coming back on stage and like doing interpretive dance. So she sees Joe at the hospital on his way to surgery. Joe gives Jenna an envelope and tells her not to open it until she leaves the hospital. Earl, Becky, and Dawn, and even Dr. Palmatore's wife, who is a resident at the hospital, crowd the delivery room. Jenna cries out in distress and gives birth. She names her daughter Lulu. Earl, sorry. That's such a ghetto-ass white trash name. I'm sorry. It's so
That's
ghetto.
such a bad name.
It's so ghetto. Anyway, she names her daughter Lulu. Earl reminds Jenna of her promise not to love Lulu more than him. And Jenna finally tells him she wants a divorce. "I want a divorce, Earl." He reacts poorly, and she implies she will seek a restraining order against him if he ever comes near her or Lulu. Dr. Palmator visits Jenna alone in her room, but Jenna refuses his kiss. Saying she does not want to remain happy enough, she ends the affair. As thanks for his positive impact on her life, she gives him a moon pie. Jenna remarks on her change and outlook with Lulu in her life with the song Everything Changes. What do you think about those things?
Okay, I have to say I didn't like the ending.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like how it was executed.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, like she hates the baby until she holds the baby actually.
Mm-hmm.
And also like, yeah, so then she holds the baby and now she's like, oh, changed. And, she's singing a song saying like, I'm changed and everything has changed. Once again, I'm not feeling it. Like, I don't feel that emotional intensity of that you are changed. It feels like to me you're just faking it. So nobody calls you a bad mom. And then on top of it, it's like, how she, defeated Earl.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, okay, so it was this easy from the beginning. It took you like 10 minutes to like freaking divorce this man. And then you didn't do it until this time.
Mm-hmm.
It was like so annoying. She knew she had like people on her side. She knew she had Dawn and Becky and Joe and Cal, and she didn't do it. And yet they begged her to stay when Dawn was getting married.
Mm-hmm.
She could have done it like then.
Yeah.
On top of it, like freaking Dr. Jim comes
Come,
and
Jay, come.
no, like he comes and sits next to Jenna. This woman just gave birth and like he's trying to get it on.
While his wife is in the next room.
Yeah, like what is happening? Dude, like the amniotic fluid isn't dry yet.
Oh, it's dry on his lips.
Gross, like why? And basically Jenna has to like tell him to stop abusing her as a patient.
If you frame it that way, yes. Please stop abusing me. I will
Yeah,
file a
like
lawsuit.
like
Low key, that is.
she has to remind him like you have a wife.
Stop abusing me as your patient. That's low key funny. This is like the story of abuse. She did get, sort of love bombed by Dr. Jim.
Yeah, and you would think once the baby is born, Dr. Jim would give it up because she's not pregnant anymore.
Yeah, he's like, oh, it's not as hot. It's not hot.
Yeah, so he was like, okay, I guess you're not pregnant anymore. I'll find my next victim.
No, he's a predator, low key. Jim is a predator, preying on pregnant women. They're gonna make like a documentary about him, the Connecticut doctor.
Yeah, like that was crazy. And it's just like, I don't know, it didn't give me like that happy ending that much. Cause I just knew that girl wasn't loved.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe, I wish like she had a change of heart earlier.
Yeah.
Or like just a stronger change of heart when she was singing like Dear Baby and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Ending didn't trigger me like that much. I was actually surprised that she broke up with Jim. I thought she was gonna ride off to the sunset and have her doctor husband and also the business and everything like that and her baby, like perfect ending, right? But I wasn't that triggered by it, but I guess, I don't have that perspective like you have about how a woman should sort of think about her child. Um, I just feel like, yeah, she went into it having that baby, not wanting it, but then sort of just accepted it. Like, this is a part of life now. And I think that's possible.
Yeah, it is possible, but it's just like, I don't think it's possible for a woman to like not want her child at all, like the way Jenna is.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, yeah, she's born and then possibly like you try, but that's gonna have trauma effect.
Yeah. I got you. Well, final scene. Jenna opens Joe's envelope. Knowing he was dying, he left her the diner in his will and testament. Joe also wanted Jenna to name a pie after me when I'm gone. 5 years later, the diner has been rechristened Lulu's Pies, and Jenna, the owner and head chef, is content that her life has finally turned around. And then the song Opening Up finale plays. And, yeah, that's the end. Yeah, comments on that?
I just thought, how, I don't know if you know this, but like on Instagram, there are like food accounts where they deliver you like, special food, like cakes and shit like that. And that's what I thought, like, she opened herself an Instagram account. It's like, but what? Just like, putting up videos of her cooking pies.
Wow, trad wife. Wait,
A trad wife.
Jenna's on Instagram being a trad wife?
Yeah, a trad wife, and now she's like delivering to every state.
Wow, wow.
And she just like sort of became like the famous pie trad wife.
Famous pie trad wife influencer.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But secretly she gets exposed by the red pill community for being like a hussy who slept with a married man, divorced her husband, and is living a single lonely cat lady life.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was the energy it was giving me.
Wow. Yo, you're too jaded. You're too cynical. I thought it was actually a happy ending, low key. It was actually a kind of cute.
No, because ending. How are you gonna like? It's a small town, right? How are you gonna close a whole diner and just serve pies only and
Okay,
then make a lot of money.
okay, but in this movie, like people were ordering omelets and hash browns and pancakes and other stuff, but pie was like their, one of their main sellers because they had a fucking pie savant in the back who was Jenna. By the way, there was a funny scene, a few scenes when the people would like blow flour out of their hands like magic pixie dust, like LeBron James going onto the court like slapping flour in the air. Shit was hilarious. Do you remember those scenes?
Yeah, yeah. I
Those
mean,
are
I
great.
I actually heard like some of the people who reviewed the movie
Hmm.
and the musical live show separately, and they were like comparing it, and they actually appreciated all those sort of scenes, and they also appreciated the slow mo as well.
Mm. Like blowing the flour. What? Like people were going
Yeah.
to the actual musical and getting like flour on their expensive suits and
And
hats.
I heard one lady saying, "Imagine the waste."
I know, right?
And I did low key think about that, like when I was watching it.
I mean, it's flour low key. I mean, it's not that wasteful, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of annoying. Imagine you're sitting front row at Broadway. You pay like $3,000 a ticket and you just get a face full of flour from like, what's the name? Sarah Bareilles. Sarah
On your
Bareilles.
Chanel suit.
I own your Chanel suit. Sarah Bareilles just like devalued you by like $3,000. That's funny, low key. Oh man. But yeah, ending was cute. I mean, in this film, it's like American, it's that typical American film where at the end, happy ending, everything is sewed up and nice, but it never talks about the systemic problems in the story. You know what I mean? The fact that, this woman probably stayed with an abusive, sexist guy because in America we don't have, the opportunity for like women to gain upward mobility and actually make more money, right? Working at a diner, it's job insecurity to the max. Like this film doesn't talk about any of the big issues. It just sort of glosses over it and gives that American polished finish like, hey, work hard enough and maybe your rich, generous, kind of sexist, toxic boss will leave you the factory one day. He'll leave you the diner. You know what I mean? Like, it's this fantasy world. You get what I'm saying? But I enjoyed this film because it made me unplug from reality for a minute, but it still has some disturbing elements in it that, sort of mask over the real problems in our society. Cause there's like women working in the service industry all across America, all across the world, right? And they're dealing with earls. They're dealing with, shitty guys in their lives and shitty pay and shitty bosses. And it doesn't end up fine. You know, it's actually kind of sad how this movie sort of glosses over everything. This is
Yeah.
like making a movie called Sweatshop. Sweatshop, the musical, right? Opening up, it's a new day. You might have lost a finger, but it's okay. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I get it. It's definitely lacking that depth when it comes to social commentary.
Yeah,
Yeah, like there could have been a song about like how the way things are and why these characters are in these situations.
right, right.
Just like working day in and day out and not make it seem like it's just a boring job, but it's actually like part of a system.
An exploitative job. Like Jenna was probably making fuck all money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Cal is the guy. There's literally a guy back there working with them who's their boss, sort of like a slave driver, and he probably makes more because he's the manager. You get what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, and
yeah,
he's a man. That's also why I think he makes more as well.
yeah,
But like, yeah, I think there could have been a song, like you said, definitely.
yeah. Where do my dollars go? You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like Jenna's struggling to pay the rent. I mean, Jenna had to take the bus. There was never anything like she can't afford a car. You know what I mean? And so it's like, yeah, there's so many missed things here, but this is like, you know, sort of like, how can I say this? It's Princess Diaries, right? It's The Devil Wears Prada. It's a fun, forget about life, forget about your troubles story that sort of teaches a moral lesson, entertains, done by really skilled artists. These are great actors, actresses, singers, dancers on stage. So it's something you appreciate for the art in and of itself, even though you wish the art did more.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I mean, that's why I said, 15-year-old Acti would have loved this movie
Hmm.
because, like, it doesn't make you think of, like, the politics and everything. You don't have to, like, really, you know, um, force your brain to understand it.
Hmm.
And it's just, like, a story that flows. And it's a story that's common, that's, like, known if you're watching, like, any Hollywood movie, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said, the reasons you watch musical is sort of like to appreciate music and acting and dancing all together.
Yeah.
And I think it does do that. And
Yeah.
it is definitely like entertaining, even though like sometimes it might be like silly and you might
Hmm.
laugh at it,
Hmm.
but it's still like entertaining.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's just like, it's not like over the top best
Uh-huh.
musical for me
Yeah.
because most of the time if I watch a good musical, then I'm like listening to the tunes the next week.
Hmm.
And there isn't like a song that I would pick up from here and listen to it at the gym today.
No, I think you would. I think you would play the song "I Didn't Plan It." "Didn't Plan It" goes hard.
Maybe that one only.
Hmm. Yeah. But I feel like, if we're going to run with this theme, we need to make this film be we need to make the storyline be common in every situation, right? So like, little African child is working in a gold mine, living with abusive parents, but he's really good at finding gold in the rocks. Some circumstances happen in his life. And then eventually the good boss eventually decides, hey, I'm going to leave the African gold mine to you. And now you become the exploiter of the natural resources and the people. It'd be kind of funny.
Yeah.
The African Gold Mine, the musical.
What is the like message of this musical? Like what is the lesson that it teaches?
uh, OBGYNs should not be men.
Wow.
Yes.
An affair can change your life.
An affair can change your life. Get really good at baking pies and, be surprised what happens before your eyes.
Wow. Get really good at baking pies and you can get away with anything.
Yeah.
Even get a fortune.
Even get a fortune. Pie baking. As a person who likes to bake, did this film inspire you?
I thought like all the baking scenes where, Jenna was actually kneading the dough, putting in the flour and things like that. They were very realistic. I
Hmm.
would say like they didn't feel like fake. Obviously
Hmm.
like the props were fake possibly.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's just like sometimes what bothered me was like the way they would pour sugar and cinnamon into cups.
Yeah, a whole lot of cinnamon.
Yeah, it's like, a kilo of cinnamon is like being poured into a cup while she's singing like his chorus.
Yeah. I'm surprised nobody like coughed profusely, like with all these fucking ingredients flying in the
Yeah,
air.
especially with cinnamon.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, but yeah, like I said, I like the, pie making comparison to real life scenes.
Yeah. Yeah. But overall, I would rate this honestly. I give it a 6. I give it a 6. It's entertaining. It's fun. I really enjoyed watching it. Like I was laughing with it, and some of the songs made me tap my feet, sing along. You know what I mean? It was cool. But overall, as a story, it's kind of like really shallow. It's a really shallow story.
Hmm.
If you break it down, it's like a Cameron Diaz, Julia Roberts flick from like 2002 that everybody forgot about, and that just got a second wind in its sails. So give it a solid 6.
Yeah, I mean, last night I give it a 7. I
Hmm.
guess I'll stick with 7. Though, like, I can give it a lower score, but just like, yeah, I feel like if you're into Broadway musicals or rom-coms, you
Hmm.
might like this.
Hmm.
It's not a very hard on your head, movie.
Hmm.
It's easy watch and it's fun.
Yeah.
But like you said, it lacks depth and like the songs and the rhythms are not like the best, but
Yeah.
they are still good.
I mean, it's very poppy songs, C
Yeah.
major. Like this is, what you would hear on pop radio, 2015.
Yeah, definitely. So, Yeah, but I mean, overall, it's a classic story, so
Yeah.
I feel like it wouldn't probably cause so much controversy
Yeah, but
in your
don't
head.
don't don't just see musical and happy smiling white ladies and think, oh yeah, let's watch this with the kids. No, do not watch this with the kids.
Yeah,
They'll be asking you, what's a cream pie, mommy? You don't want to answer that. You don't want to answer those questions.
yeah. Don't. It's not for kids.
No, not for kids. Not for kids. But yeah, all right. So this has been episode 69, ironically. 69 pie, anyone?
Wow.
Episode 69 on a very sexual movie, Waitress the Musical. Simon and Active movie reviews on the march towards episode 100. If you have any films you want us to watch, put us in the comments. We will try to catch them, but try to send us the link on how to find it and tune in for more movie reviews. Y'all be easy out there. Peace.